Hey there, I'm making this video to remember June 2026. And I recorded these clips of my weekend with my new Sony HDR-CX405 Handycam that I got secondhand last week. And this camcorder is so fun. One of the features that it has is 30x optical zoom, which honestly made me feel like a National Geographic videographer this weekend because I was able to zoom in on a butterfly's body, and then I was able to catch a pelican that was flying over the beach that I was at. And the reason that I wanted to get it was because I'm finally doing some bucket list level travel this summer, and I really want to preserve those memories. So yeah, I'm really happy about this camcorder. It's a 2015 model, but I'm really glad I got it instead of the more modern version because the more modern version that Sony has is the AX43A, which is $1,000, and you can't really find cheaper on eBay. But this one was under $300, and honestly, it's perfect for me because it's really lightweight, which the newer ones aren't. They're a bit more bulky, and it also has this 30x optical zoom, which the newer ones only go up to 20x. Obviously, you don't have the 4K that the newer ones have, but I honestly don't mind because I kind of like a more nostalgic aesthetic. If you've seen some of my other videos, you've probably seen my footage with my 2002 camcorder, but that one is kind of sacred to me. It's the one that my mom used to record me as a kid. So it's been in my family for a very long time. It's not like an everyday camcorder, and it's on film, so you can't really be wasteful with it. If you override film, sometimes it gets a little choppy and you see slivers of the footage that was there before. So all that to say, I'm super excited about the potential with this camera. So the other thing is that this weekend I got my typewriter back. What happened was that I was away, and when I came back, I immediately went to go check up on her. And when I plugged her in and turned her on, the lights flickered and she was dead. So apparently she short-circuited. So I had to pay for a repair job, and now I bought a surge protector to try and prevent that from happening again, because I really want to keep this typewriter for as long as possible. She has a lot of cool features, like one of the things that you can do is that you can actually backspace. So it has this strip of whiteout, and then if you backspace, it'll stamp that onto the page. And you really can't even tell that it's there. Like, it looks really good, so that feature is major for me. And then it also has a built-in dictionary, which obviously it's not going to recognize modern words like YouTube or whatever, but if you're typing and you misspell a word, it beeps at you to let you know that you misspelled it, which is really cool. And while she was gone, I was working on some writing, but I had to go back to writing it out on my computer, which I hate because, I don't know, I feel like the pull to open the browser is just too strong. So I really like doing that initial outpour phase on the typewriter and then just rewriting it onto the computer, which lets me revise it. But this weekend, I mostly just wrote on my computer just to finish off what I had already started. Also, I want to talk about the philosophy on life that I've been living by right now. It's living for my end game. And what I mean by that is that for a long time, I've known what my end game was. Like, I want to live a more creative, fulfilling, and spiritual life. But for a long time, I've been telling myself that I need to reach some external marker before I can open up the pathway towards that. So in my case, it was a career change. I thought that I needed to leave my current job and move towards a different type of career, which gives a person more free time. And then I thought that once I have that more free time, I would finally be able to do all of the things that I wanted to do, which was to travel more, to be able to read more books, to write, and overall just to be more relaxed, because I wouldn't have the constant overcast of my job swallowing my time and occasionally making me feel very stressed. But truly there was no guarantee that the grass would be greener on the other side, because this career change, sure, it came with the promise of more free time, but it would also make me spend more time thinking about finances because I would be scaling back my income. And this other job, it wasn't necessarily something that I was more passionate about. It was just another job with a skill set that I would need to build up. So I started to see this career change that I was grinding towards as being just a change of hands rather than a guarantee of the things that I was looking for. And it would be me spending time on doing things that were still not truly me. But over the last few months, I had a series of small realizations that have amounted to me finding ways to make more time for my interests and also decentering work so that it wasn't an all-consuming force in my life. So now that I realized that my job was never really the problem, and I found out how to not get stressed and do my passions anyway, I realized that I didn't need this point B. I can start living out C, my end game, right now. So that's my new approach to life. And what that looks like in practice is, number one, I'm actually going to do some of my bucket list level travel this summer that I've been postponing indefinitely for I don't know what reason. But it dawned on me that one day when I get older and I still haven't done these things, I might just completely lose my desire to even do them. Especially because when I travel, I like to do like adventure-y travel. So I like to go on hikes and do a lot of like urban exploring through walking. So, I can't have this list pending until I'm 60 because these are the desires of my current self. And if I don't grant them, they might fall away. And sure, I might have different desires and things that I wish for when I'm older, but I'll never have experienced some of the adventures that I could have had in my youth. And one of the things that really pissed me off about myself was that I would say, oh, like, I wish I could travel overseas, but because of my job, I feel like I don't have enough vacation, yada yada. Bro, just do a smaller one then. Like, you have something. Whereas over the last few years, you've literally taken staycations. So that kind of pissed me off about myself. But on the bright side, this summer is going to be the first time that I'm taking a full week off to travel somewhere that I've always wanted to go, which in this case is the West Coast, because I've always been on the East Coast. So excited. And then I've also been finding ways to give myself more time for my hobbies. So the biggest thing that's helped me, and this will not come as a surprise to you if you've seen any of my previous videos, but it's the fact that I have moved my SIM card from my iPhone into a flip phone. So that has been probably the single biggest thing that I've done that has helped me gain my time back. And truly, nothing that I've tried prior in terms of like discipline strategies, using the brick, blocking my access to Safari and whatnot, none of it helped as much as just taking the leap and going to a flip phone helped. Because even when I had my iPhone in a blocked state, so like I disabled access to the App Store and I disabled the ability to access certain websites through the built-in browser, I still found myself opening and closing my phone for random reasons throughout the day, which amounted to 2 hours of screen time. So like, I would still open all of my messaging apps, and even though there were no new notifications, I'd still be like, oh, was my message read yet? Like, I'd just look for anything to check. I'd look through old photos. I'd reach for my phone to quickly access the web browser for any little thing that I thought of that had some unknowns instead of just sitting with it and accepting a little uncertainty. And I think part of the reason for that is because the whole design of the iPhone is very, very pleasant, and it's been hyper-engineered by the best minds in UX, physical device design, whatever that is called, to the point where you've got a device that sits so comfortably in your hand. You've got all these little sounds that like tickle your mind and interfaces that are so seamless and pleasant that you probably get a dopamine hit just from clicking around on it with no objective in your mind. And I only really noticed that because of the stark difference that the flip phone has in comparison. Like, the flip phone is truly a nuisance. It takes 5 times the amount of clicks to get to where you want to go. Everything is clunky and slow. You need to be patient with it because there are times that I've done things too fast and it's completely frozen up on me and I needed to restart it. But that's the reason that my phone pickups went from 200 on the iPhone, which is the average, to probably about 5 per day. I mean, that might be an exaggeration, but my point is that it shifted from out of boredom and whatnot to just out of a need basis. So, like, just to check if somebody called me, texted me, or if I need to call and text someone. And the other thing has been waking up early. So I've always known that I was a morning person. Having a few hours just to myself in the morning makes my day 100 times better, because I find that if I don't give myself the time in the morning, which still happens, like, I'm not a perfect 6 a.m. person. Sometimes I lose the battle of compelling myself to get out of bed, despite my body's desire to sleep for as long as possible. Mostly because I don't have a good sleep schedule. Some days I find myself going to bed at 11:30 and then trying to get up at 6. But truly the times that I have gone to bed at 10, it's pretty easy to get up at 6, especially if you do it consistently and your body gets acclimated to the rhythm. But yeah, the point is, I could be making it easier for myself, but instead I battle it out every morning and I rely on coffee as my crutch. But once I get past that initial discomfort of peeling myself out of bed, what follows is often the best 2 hours of my day and is essentially my adult playtime, because I just do the things that I enjoy. So oftentimes what that looks like for me is I read a book. Right now the book that I'm reading is Tools for Conviviality by Ivan Ilyich. Or I write, like, maybe I'll do morning pages or try to go deeper into one focused idea. And then I do my spiritual practice, which right now is the Ascension Presents Bible in a Year reading plan. So I read the chapters that are laid out for that day. I started it on my birthday, so I'm not doing the full, like, January 1st to December 31st format that people usually follow with this, but I'm kind of taking it at a more chiller pace because I've already attempted it 2 times before and I've always fell off because I held myself to the standard of doing every single day without missing ones. And they have a supplemental podcast which starts day 1, January 1st, and every day it, like, drops them. So before I felt like I'm so far behind, I lost my motivation to continue, but now I'm just being more chill with it. Like, I'm just doing it for me without the expectation of finishing it perfectly within a year. So yeah, waking up early is major for me because it really improves my day tenfold, because the days when I don't do it, I kind of find myself yearning throughout the day for some time for myself, which sometimes doesn't come that day because my evening will slip past me because I'll have to have prioritized more important things like cooking dinner, doing some outstanding chores, or whatnot. Waking up early gives me a few hours of control over my day before the day starts happening to me and I'm subjected to a bunch of external responsibilities. The other thing that helps is a little bit of a more subtle thing, but it makes a huge difference for me, and it's setting up my space so that it's easier for me to do these things that I love. So, like, for example, I recently moved, so I don't have a bedside table yet to put my books on and to put a reading lamp on. So what I did in the meantime is I pulled up a spare chair right next to my bed, and that's where I keep my little lamp that I got from my mom and my books while I monitor the situation, by which I mean check Facebook Marketplace for a cute drop from someone who's moving out nearby. But despite the aesthetics not being there, it really helps me just be able to do a little bit of reading before I go to sleep. Because prior to that, I wasn't doing any because the overhead light is fluorescent and I have to get up to turn it off and on. So it didn't make it easy or comfortable to choose to read a book at night. The other thing is, like I said, I rely on coffee as a crutch to help me wake up in the morning. And one of the ways that I take it to the next level is that the night before I grind the beans and I already put them into the portafilter of my espresso machine, which, by the way, one of my best purchases. And I lock it in place so that literally everything is set up for me to just come downstairs in the morning and press one button, and then my coffee is already gonna flow right into the cup. I'm going to leave off here. If you've been listening thus far, thank you for listening to my musings, and let me know what your thoughts are on this video in the comments.